Okay, so let's continue with the discussion where we are. We are the difference between the distinction between parallel and distributed computing. So what I already discussed, that parallel processing are sharing the single centralized memory. Okay, among multiple processors. Okay, so multiple processors are doing their job by taking the help of a single memory. Okay, so your objective of parallel computing is that your memory should be more powerful to handle multiple processors. Please remember, you have to give too much cost, or it is very expensive to getting the high end memory. Okay, but the thing is that nowadays memory is not a very expensive thing. Okay, compared to processor are very expensive, but memory are not very expensive thing compared to processors expensiveness. So it is applicable in case of parallel computing to get a high end memory. Okay, or you can say a powerful memory. Now, distributed multiple machines with own memory connected over a network. So in the distributed system, there is a network. So suppose this system belongs, these two systems are geographically separated from each other. So suppose this system belongs to one continent and this system belongs to another continent, but they are connected through a network. Okay, that may be a Wi-Fi network or wired network, whatever you say, geographically separated, and they contains their own memory, own local memory is there present. Okay, each and every processor has their own memory, own local memory. So that is a distributed system. So that's why it's called distributed. That means memory has been distributed among multiple processors. Okay, but in parallel computation, just opposite of it, there is only one centralized memory is working, is using by multiple processors. Okay, please remember these differences, because these are the very common questions that it may be asked from a computer scientist or from a IT engineer. It's a very common questions. The interviewer will frequently ask these sort of questions. Okay, because cloud architecture depends on the basis of these questions. Okay, so divide and conquer sort of work, partition, combining. So, okay, I'm not going to discuss about this. This is about the pipelining, parallel processing. Those things will be there. So I think you just revise these things. I think it will be easier for you. The example which I have given, like physics paper, chemistry paper, math paper, so that example has been showed here in terms of parallel computing and pipelining, how we are using a parallel computing with pipelining concepts to solve the problem of handling the manuscript of three different subjects, physics, chemistry, and math, with a less amount of time compared to the serial processing. Okay, so that has been discussed here. Okay, in these examples. So I think you please go through it. If you feel any sort of problem in the next class, you can ask me. So we are directly moving. We are directly moving into our next lecture. Uh, Today, my object is, there anyone has any questions regarding যতখানি পড়ানো হয়েছে? Is there anyone any questions? Is there any doubt regarding parallel computing, distributed computing? Overall conception ta clear to regarding distributed computing and parallel computing? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, thank you. So we are moving into the next lecture. This is one of the very interesting topic of cloud. Till now, in my last couple of classes, what I have discussed, mostly my focus was on discussing of the characteristics of cloud architecture or cloud service providers, or you can say the components of cloud architectures, or you can say the features of cloud architectures. That my main focus to discuss in last couple of classes. Whatever classes I have taken in last few weeks, I have discussed only those features, like why we use cloud, paper process, pay as you go process, then elasticity, load balancing, scalability, reliability, security. So these are all the features which I discuss in much more detailed way. Now today's lecture is going to discuss about some of the interesting cloud architecture and their internal components, their internal component architecture and their uses. Okay, so today my objective is going to discuss about two architecture. One is the most common and open source architecture is a Eucalyptus architecture. Another one is a very famous and popularly used public cloud. It's the Amazon AWS. Okay, so these two architectures is my prime objective of today to discuss. Okay, and their architecture and components. I am not discussing about the features here. Okay, features I already discussed couple of time in last few weeks. I already discussed features in a very detailed way, in a very detailed manner. Okay, And my objective here to discuss about the components of the cloud architectures of Amazon AWS, Eucalyptus, this sort of cloud architecture, and their uses. Okay, how we will use it. Now, majorly I have already told in your syllabus, or you can say the popularly used cloud architecture, there are three cloud architecture: Amazon AWS, Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Architecture, and Microsoft Windows Azure. Okay, all the three architectures, all the three cloud architectures we will discuss one by one. Okay, but today my objective is to discuss Amazon AWS, this architecture, and the basics of all these architectures is the Eucalyptus. Because I prefer to discuss about Eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is also part of your syllabus. If you go through the last previous question, even the last year question, the entire question of Eucalyptus architecture has been given. 15 marks question has come to describe the Eucalyptus architecture in last year. Okay, if you go through the last year IT department question, you will get that one. Okay, now that's why I want to discuss about the Eucalyptus architecture, which is nothing but a basic architecture, easier architecture compared to the other architecture. So if you want to understand the other architecture, there's a complex architectures of cloud architecture. If you want to understand this complex cloud architecture, you have to go through the Eucalyptus simple cloud architecture first. Okay, so let's start with a discussion of Eucalyptus architecture first. So what is Eucalyptus architecture? Okay, let me share the screen. Look at the screen very carefully. So Eucalyptus architecture, if the question will come, can you give an example of a private clouds or private cloud architecture or open source private cloud? Open source private cloud means it can be easily used by the customer or the consumer in an open source manner. That means there is always no need to subscribe for this architecture. It is free to use, and that can be used for the private clouds. Okay, private cloud use kora jete pare. Now there are mainly three kinds of private clouds, open source private clouds are available: Eucalyptus, Open Nebula, and Nimbus. Eucalyptus, Open Nebula, and Nimbus. In your exam, please remember all these three terms. In your exam, if they will ask an example of one or two, then you can give this example as a private cloud as well as open source cloud architectures. Please remember it. In your syllabus, Eucalyptus architecture will be there. These two architecture is not part of your syllabus, but I have given one comparison table among them. So you just gone through it. And if you want to know about the details of the architecture, you can also go through the Open Nebula Nimbus architecture as well. Okay, it's your choice. But Eucalyptus, you must have to gone through it. Okay, because it is in your syllabus. Questions are coming. Now, schematically, a cloud infrastructure carried out the following step to run. So if I want to run an application, what are the steps we need to follow in a cloud architecture? These are the basic steps, okay, which I already discussed. But let me just discuss one more time. So we have to retrieve the user input from the front end. So there must be some sort of controller whose main job is to retrieve the user input from the front end, which will working like a front end interface, where the consumer or the customer is communicated with the system through a web browser. Okay, by the help of some other protocol. A web browser means HTTP protocol comes into the picture, hypertext transfer protocol. By the help of HTTP protocol, the user or the end user or the consumer can connect it, or the web browser can connect it, can communicate it to the cloud services or cloud architecture. And the first job of the cloud architecture is to retrieve the user input. That means the user demand. Okay, what type of service the user require or the consumer require, that will be retrieved from the front end. That is the first step to run an application on a cloud. Second step, retrieve the disk image of a virtual machine from a repository. So there is a repository, or you can say the storage server, the storage services like in Amazon. I already told the storage services S3, simple storage services, S3, SSS, S3. Okay, so this simple storage services S3 stores the different configuration of the virtual machines or images of the virtual machine, not configuration, images of the virtual machine, which is also called AMI. AMI means application machine images. Okay, applied machine images. So this sort of AMI images has been stored of our storage services or storage components of a cloud architecture. Like in Amazon, S3 will play the role to store that sort of images. Images means actually a virtual machine, you can say a VMs. Now the user based on the user input, this disk image of a virtual machine can be retrieved from the disk storage, right? There is a disk controller or storage controller which actually controls this entire scenario. Okay, how many images has been retrieved, when the images has been retrieved, okay, and how many images will be, how many virtual machine or images of virtual machine, these two terms are simultaneously working because images are running on virtual machine. Without virtual machine, images cannot run, cannot exist. Okay, so how many images of virtual machine will be deleted in future, okay, based on the less demand of the user, consumer, or the end users. So that will be entered control by a controller called storage controller. Okay, so how many controller I told? There is one controller which will control the input from outside user through the web browser. Okay, that is actually called cloud controller. I will come the name of those controller in the architecture. Just I'm giving the name of this. This is called cloud controller, which will handle the input and output, which will acting like a, you can say, a gatekeeper between the cloud platform and the outsider. Okay, cloud controller. And the second controller is a storage controller, which will manages how the what are the images, how many images of a virtual machine will be retrieved from the storage. Okay, how many images will be returned back to the storage. So these all things will be controlled by the storage controller. Now the third thing is locates the system and requests the VMM or hypervisor running on that system to set up a VM. Okay, so that actually depends. That actually based on the user request or on-demand user request, which services the user wants to execute or which application the user wants to run. Based on that, it has to locate the system, a virtual machine, the system of the virtual machine where the user actually located, because at that particular location the virtual machine image will be provided. Okay, and that has been maintained by the virtual machine monitor hypervisor, whose main job is to running on that system, that virtual machine system, to set up a VM. So VM টা create a setup টা পুরোটাই করে হচ্ছে virtual machine monitor, the hypervisor. Okay, I already discussed lots of things regarding hypervisor and its architecture. Okay, I think all of you remember it. Type 1 hypervisor, type 2 hypervisor, this is what I discussed. Now the last thing is that invokes the DHCP222 and the IP bridging software to set up a MAC and IP address for the VM. Obviously, I already discussed that there is a role of IP address and MAC addresses to set up a virtual machine. Okay, virtual machine কিন্তু without IP address or MAC address চলে না. Obviously, that MAC address and IP address will be also is a dynamic. It depends on the DHCP. DHCP is dynamic host configuration protocol. Okay, dynamically this IP address and MAC address will be allocated, because MAC address means the virtual machines which actually running on a particular system of a that may be a PDA, that may be a mobile phone, that may be any sort of laptop. So the hardware address or MAC address of that laptop will be fetched and maintained by the VMM. Okay, and DHCP, by the help of DHCP dynamic host configuration protocol, a series of dynamic IP addresses will be assigned to the particular VM. Okay, so if the VM will not be, why dynamic, why it's not static IP address will be using, because suppose at future if the VM will be deleted, that means the user no longer is used the cloud services, then the VM corresponding VM or image will be deleted, and then that IP address will again return back to the pool of the IP addresses which has been provided by a special protocol which is called DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. তোমার নেটওয়ার্কিং এই জিনিসটা পড়বে DHCP and its entire architecture. Okay, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. তোমার নেটওয়ার্কিং তো আগের সেমিস্টারেই পড়েছো, so I think you have already learned it. Okay, so till now anyone has any confusion? কারো কনফিউশন আছে বলতে পারো। এই পরের স্লাইড থেকে আমি আর্কিটেকচারের মধ্যে ইনক্লুড করব, ঢুকবো। So these are the basic steps of how to run an applications on a cloud architecture, and these are the examples, basic examples, 3 examples I have given of a open source private cloud. কারো কোনো ইয়ে আছে, প্রবলেম আছে, ডাউটস আছে, you can ask me. Anyone has any doubt or problem, please ask me. Please give a response if anyone has any problem or any doubt.
No sir.
বুঝতে পারছো প্রত্যেকে?
Yes sir.
একটু কোপ আপ করো, একটু তাড়াতাড়ি স্টার্ট করো, কারণ আমি এদিকে এগিয়ে যাচ্ছি, তোমরা যদি এদিকে না পড়ো তো ব্যাপারটা কিন্তু পুরো গন্ডগোল হয়ে যাবে। তো তোমরা অন্তত গো থ্রু করো, আমি বলছি না তোমাদের এখন এক্সামের মতো প্রিপারেশন নিতে। ওকে, ইউ জাস্ট গো থ্রু হোয়াট আই এম টিচিং টুডে, ইউ জাস্ট গো থ্রু ওয়ান্স, একবার জাস্ট গো থ্রু করো, ইউ উইল রিমেম্বার। দ্যাট ইজ মাই কোয়েশ্চেন, ওভারঅল থিংসটা ইউ উইল রিমেম্বার। দেন এক্সামের আগে তুমি তোমার ডিটেলসে প্রিপারেশন নাও, আই ডোন্ট হ্যাভ এনি প্রবলেম, বাট প্লিজ গো থ্রু ইট। একদম ব্ল্যাঙ্ক থেকো না, ব্ল্যাঙ্ক থাকাটা ইজ নট আ সলিউশন। ওকে, বিকজ তোমার জব ইন্টারভিউ যখন দেবে তোমার ক্লাউডটা কিন্তু তোমাদের কাছে খুব একটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট সাবজেক্ট। আমি বারবার বলছি অন্য কোন সাবজেক্ট কি ইম্পর্টেন্ট আই ডোন্ট নো, বাট ক্লাউড ইজ দ্য মাচ মোর ইম্পর্টেন্ট সাবজেক্ট। ওকে, তোমরা ক্লাউড যারা যারা বলবে দে উইল গেট এক্সট্রা অ্যাডভান্টেজ। তোমরা জানো না কি 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 লেভেল অ্যাডভান্টেজ তোমরা পাবে যদি ক্লাউড তোমরা বলো, because এখন nowadays all the operations are doing on the cloud platform. So if you have a basic knowledge regarding cloud, they will be really impressed on the candidate. So যারা ক্লাউড একদম দেখছো না বা তোমরা ভাবছো পরীক্ষার আগে দেখবে, পরীক্ষা doesn't matter, exam is doesn't matter. In WBT exam the questions are coming, the similar type of questions are coming last 5 or 10 years question. If you prepare then you can answer it very easily. But I am not teaching based on the exams. Okay, exams তো আছেই, তার সাথে সাথে আমি তোমাদের বারবার বলছি যে কি ধরনের কোশ্চেন the interview will ask regarding cloud. Please try to grab the knowledge and try to answer them accordingly. Okay, you will get advantage, you will get real advantage. আমার অনেক স্টুডেন্ট এই অ্যাডভান্টেজ পেয়েছে এবং তাদেরকে আমি জোর করাতে তারা পরবর্তীকালে বলে গেছে আমাকে যে স্যার আমরা সত্যি অ্যাডভান্টেজ পেয়েছি, আপনি জোর করেছিলেন বলে আমরা ক্লাউডটা পড়ে গেছিলাম। and এবং এরকম স্টুডেন্টও আছে they have been asked in Infosys, they have been asked only from cloud, আর কিচ্ছু ধরেনি, not C, not C++, not Java, not a single programming language, they have been only asked from cloud. ওকে, কারণ এখনকার দিনে কিন্তু টেকনোলজি চেঞ্জ হচ্ছে, বারবার বলছি it not depends on only those basic languages. আমাদের সময়গুলো ছিল যে C, C++, Java জানলেই you will get a job, but nowadays you have to do an R&D. ওকে, তোমাদের কিছু স্পেশাল সাবজেক্ট জানতে হবে যেগুলো R&D তে কাজ করে। R&D উইংস, এখন সব কোম্পানিতে R&D উইংস আছে and they are trying to get some brilliant student for their R&D wings. এবং R&D উইংস এর জন্য তোমাদের যে যে স্পেশাল সাবজেক্ট গুলো এখনকার দিনে যে কাটিং এজ টেকনোলজি গুলো আছে তার মধ্যে কিন্তু ক্লাউড ইজ ওয়ান অফ দ্য কাটিং এজ টেকনোলজি যেগুলোর মধ্যে প্রচুর R&D হচ্ছে। অ্যাপার্ট ফ্রম দেম ML, machine learning, your image processing, your quantum computing, these all are R&D technologies. এবং এগুলো কিন্তু কোনোটাই without the help of cloud platforms cannot run. তোমাকে দেখাবো যে কোয়ান্টাম কম্পিউটিং এ, ইভেন আমি কোয়ান্টাম কম্পিউটিং এর ক্ষেত্রে ক্লাউড প্ল্যাটফর্ম ইউজ করছি। in quantum computing there is very few machines are available in worldwide, খুব কম, একটা দুটো মেশিনস আছে। গুগল একটা মেশিন তৈরি করেছে, সেই মেশিন গুলো আমাদের তার অ্যাক্সেস দিচ্ছে না। IBM একটা মেশিন তৈরি করেছে, so IBM has given the access of that machine through the, look at this, IBM Qiskit, IBM Q, these are quantum machines, so I can handle that machines through its cloud architecture. আমি ক্লাউডের থ্রু দিয়ে হ্যান্ডেল করতে পারি। কোয়ান্টাম স্টার্স, these are IBM quantum machines and these quantum machines is very very expensive. ইন্ডিয়াতে এখন পর্যন্ত একটা কোম্পানিরও নেই, কার থাকবে মানে ইন ফিউচারে কতদিনের মধ্যে এটা হবে আই ডোন্ট নো। So they are all are taking the help of the cloud architectures of these machines which has been provided by IBM, Google, these are the big giants. Okay, so তুমি দেখো আমি এখানে কোয়ান্টাম নেটওয়ার্ক লঞ্চ IBM quantum experience, look at this. ওকে, আমি এখানে ইউজার নেম পাসওয়ার্ড ক্রিয়েট করে রেখেছি, আমি অত ডিটেইলস দেখাচ্ছি না। এই দেখো তোমাদের কোয়ান্টাম আর্কিটেকচার, এই আর্কিটেকচার গুলো আমি ইউজ করতে পারি এখানে। লুক, সার্কিট কম্পোজার, look, this is a quantum circuit which I can use. Okay, this is a drag and drop circuit which I can use. Obviously the lots of mathematics is running behind it. I'm not going to show you all these things, but I just show you the overall architecture of these circuits. Okay, drag and drop, look, I can use this circuit and its corresponding output, the corresponding results will be given here. Okay, quantum is probabilistic computing, so all the results has been given in terms of probability. Okay, so this sort of things we can use. So you even don't understand, I don't know what are the actual architecture is lying behind of it. It's a very complex architecture of a quantum computing. It's not a single architecture, not a simple architecture like a traditional computer. It is totally different. Its architecture is totally different. The concept of architecture is totally different. These gates are different. You didn't see these gates till now because all these gates are unitary and reversible. Okay, so in traditional computer, whatever gates, logic gates we are using, all are irreversible, non-unitary. Okay, but here in quantum computing we are using all the gates are reversible and unitary. So these are the things I have used frequently for my research, for my job, to use the quantum computing architecture. So this is one of the platform. IBM has provided it. In the same way, there are some other platform like D-Wave have provided some sort of architecture, some sort of quantum architectures or quantum platforms where you can do your job. So you can understand তোমরা শুধু আমি শুধু কোয়ান্টাম জানলেই হবে না, how I can use that quantum in cloud platform সেটাও আমাকে জানতে হবে. Okay, and in future if I will produce any sort of quantum software which is running in a quantum platform, that should be deploy on any one of these quantum platform. কিভাবে deploy করতে হয়, কিভাবে সেটাকে forecast করতে হয়, কিভাবে সেটাকে publish করতে হয়, that we will have to know. So based on to know those things, we have to get a basic concept of cloud. So that's why I'm telling cloud is running everywhere. So please read it, try to understand it and try to observe it. Okay, so this is the eucalyptus architecture. Let me show you the architecture. This is the eucalyptus architecture, okay, which I already told. Try to understand this architecture very carefully. Okay, this entire architecture is generally divided into 5 type of controllers. Please remember, this entire architecture is entirely broadly classified into 5 types of controller. One is cloud controller, second one is cluster controller, third one is storage controller, and fourth one is node controller. 4 types of controller and one more component. Walrus is one another component, but it is not a controller. Mainly 4 controllers is there, and one component, an important component, Walrus is there. The total Eucalyptus cloud architecture is based on these 5 components, 4 controllers and one Walrus. Okay, so what are the job of this controller? That we need to know. Another thing is that before we want to know the job of individual controller, let me tell you that these are entire architecture where these are the domains. Individual domains has been divided in number of clusters. Cluster A, cluster B. There must be multiple clusters. Okay, maybe multiple clusters exist. Only 2 clusters for sake of simplicity. It has been shown in this picture. So in cluster A, it will collect the node controller, in a grouping of node controller, which will be controlled by the cluster controller and storage controller, will be stored into cluster A. In the same way, there is a cluster B. So these are the clusters which will connect into different regions, which will store into different regions. Okay. So based on the different regions, the clusters has been classified. Now comes into the architecture. The first architecture is a virtual machine. Obviously, all of you know that a virtual machine should be there. The virtual machine is not shown here, but virtual machine is a common type of machine that we are using in every cloud architectures. Okay, which will be created and maintained by VMMs or hypervisor, including the example of hypervisor which I already discussed in the last classes. Then KVM, VMware. If you remember type 1, type 2 hypervisor, you will get the example of these names. Okay, Xen, KVM, VMware. Okay, now the first component of the Eucalyptus cloud architecture, that is node controller. What is node controller? আচ্ছা এইভাবে না করে আমি এখান থেকে ছবি থেকে বলছি, it will be easier for you to understand. So in cloud controller, what is the job of the cloud controller? I already told the cloud controller is working like a gatekeeper. Okay, it is an interface, single interface between the outside user or the end user and the cloud architecture. Okay, so it is a Eucalyptus architecture and it is an end user. End user can connect it through the cloud controller through the web browser. Okay, end user connected with the cloud controller through the web browser. So by the help of HTTP protocol is also working here, and cloud controller controls that how many end user will be connected, whether the end user are authenticated end user or not. Okay, authenticity will be checked by the cloud controller, and then the cloud controller will give the permission to enter the end user to use its services. Okay, and based on the regions, based on the locations, based on the users, based on the load balancing. Okay, the end user services will be provided from each individual cluster. Suppose this cluster is already overloaded, okay, with multiple end users, so then the cloud controller will decide that this cluster will provide the services for the particular end user. Okay, so this actually handled by the cloud controller. It's working like a gatekeeper, okay, of an end user. Now in this cloud controller, there is one tools is working. There is SOAP, SOAP based tool. What is SOAP? SOAP stands for Simple Object Access Protocol. Okay, SOAP stands for Simple Object Access Protocol. It is nothing but a message protocol that allows distributed elements of application to communicate. Okay, so if there are distributed number of elements are there, so objects are communicated with each other through the SOAP based tools, and SOAP can be carried over a variety of lower level protocols, that is HTTP. The SOAP, it depends on the lower level protocol, that is HTTP, but through the web browser HTTP protocol, the SOAP based tools can be handled. Okay, and SOAP mainly used is actually a message based protocol which actually passing the message among distributed elements of application to communicate. Okay, so multiple applications are running, and how they communicate with each other by the help of SOAP based protocol. Okay, or SOAP based tool. Okay. Now the second sort of thing, that is REST based tools. What is REST? REST stands for representational state transfer. Representational state transfer. So it is a software architectural style that defines a set of constraints to be used for creating web services. So to create a web services, the cloud controller will maintain some set of constraints. Okay, and that set of constraints will be provided by the REST based tool. Okay, this representational state transfer based tool, this is a software architectural style or you can say a set of constraints based on which the web browser, the web services will be created. Okay, now what I already told, that Eucalyptus is a open source private cloud, and one major thing that I need to tell you, that Eucalyptus is a Linux based software architecture. Please remember, Eucalyptus is a Linux based software architecture, and this can be deployed without modification on all major Linux platforms. Okay, for including Ubuntu, CentOS, OpenSUSE, all Linux based platform, it can be deployed. Okay, and it is mainly Linux based software architecture platform, and it also provides a compatibility issues, a compatibility cloud computing platform like Amazon EC2 and S3 storage platform. Okay, this sort of compatibility platform has been also provided by Eucalyptus. Okay, and it is Eucalyptus is a private cloud, so obviously you can understand it can be used as a private cloud, and it can be maintained by the by a particular organization of IT infrastructure. Okay, and private cloud can also be part of the hybrid cloud. Okay, I already told hybrid cloud is nothing but a combination of private cloud and public cloud and community cloud. Okay, and it generally provides a yes sort of solution. Okay, infrastructure as a services sort of solutions, and it supports high performance computing. Okay, obviously cloud computing is actually part of the high performance computing. Now comes into the other architecture components. One is cluster component. Okay, the cloud controller has been already we discussed. Now the second controller is a cluster controller. Obviously cluster controller, from this name suggests that it will control the activity of the cluster. Okay, so each and individual cluster has its own cluster controller. Clear? And they are connected with the cloud controller. So web services, the end user request or end user access should first enter or should first come into the cloud controller, and from the cloud controller it will be dispersed into the cluster control of the various clusters. Okay, now this cluster controller, the job of the cluster, what is the cluster controller tells here? Look, the cluster controller controls a number of servers, interacts with the node controller of on each server to schedule requests on that node. Cluster controllers are managed by the cloud controller. Clear? So cluster controller is managed by the cloud controller. It will actually distribute the job or services as per the demands of the user among the node controller. Which node controller on each server is schedule request. Okay, as per the request of the user, which node controller will provide the services for the user, that will be handled by the cluster controller. So cluster controller will control all the node controller. Okay, the load balancing among the node controller. Okay, which nodes are free, which nodes are ideal, which nodes are very busy or loading overloaded. So this sort of issues has been handled by the cluster controller. Okay, so the cluster controller controls the number of servers. And what is cloud controller? I already discussed. Cloud controller provides the cloud access to end users, developers, and administrators. It is accessible through command line tools, compatible with EC2, Elastic Cloud Computing, and through a web-based dashboard. So manages cloud resources, makes high-level scheduling decisions, and interacts with the cluster controller. Okay, so it can interact with the cluster controller, and it manages resources, cloud resources, and makes high-level scheduling decisions. Okay, scheduling means কোন cluster এ কোন job টা যাবে. So that sort of scheduling decision has been maintained by the cloud controller. Now the next controller is a node controller. What is the job of the node controller? Node controller is a life cycle of instances, so it will maintain the life cycle of instances. So directly the VMs are running on the node controller, and the node controller controls the life cycle of the VMs. VMs means the images, or instances. Instances mean the same. Images on VMs are called instances. and runs on every server or node designated to a host a VM and controls the activities of the nodes, reports to a cluster controller. So whatever activity has been handled by the VM, that will be report to the cluster controller, and cluster controller report the same thing to the cloud controller, and then cloud controller report that thing to the user, to the end user through the web browser. Okay. So this sort of job has been done by the node controller. Now the next controller is storage controller. Storage controller is also a very important role plays here. What is the job of storage controller? Which I already told in my previous slide. The storage controller mainly responsible to create to actually responsible to handle images. Okay, to handle AMI sort of images. Let's check the rule of the storage controller. So storage controller provides persistent virtual hard drives to applications. Okay, it is the correspondent of EBS. Users can create snapshots from EBS volume. Snapshots are stored in Walrus and made available across available zones. Okay, so what is a storage controller? Storage controller actually provides persistent virtual hard drives to application. That means all sort of persistent storage sort of capacity will be provided, storage sort of activity will be provided to the applications by the help of storage controller. Not only that, storage controller is also responsible to create images of the virtual machines, okay, instances of the virtual machines. And this Walrus controller is actually taking the snapshot of those images. Can o snapshot niye rakhe? Because suppose in future there may be a disaster occurs, and during the disaster all this cloud controller, storage controller, cluster controller will be damaged. But the Walrus will take the snapshot of those already was, or you can say it will work like a checkpoints. Okay, so snapshot and gaming game খেলার you are doing a save points. Okay, a quick save. So this quick save is actually takes the snapshot of the game which you have been already covered. In the same way the Walrus is working here, it takes a snapshot of the images or of the VMs, and if the disaster will occur, it will store those up to that particular work as a checkpoint of those images. Okay, so that is the role of the Walrus storage controller. Walrus is also a special type of storage controller. Please remember, Walrus is also a special type of storage controller. So that's why it is connected with the storage controller. Okay. So this is a storage controller. Walrus is a simple file storage system. Walrus is a simple file storage system which provides persistent storage and similarity to S3 allows users to store objects in buckets. Okay, so mainly it is useful for image a snapshot controller. Okay, image snapshot controller to provide security or to provide the persistence or reliability if any disaster occur in storage. So you can access the Eucalyptus website. You can access the Eucalyptus cloud through by the help of this website. You can go to that website, you can access it. Okay, I have given one snapshot of the website. This is a snapshot of the website of the Eucalyptus where you can access the services of the Eucalyptus. Okay, so anyone has any doubt regarding it about the Eucalyptus architecture? Karo kono doubt ache bolo? Is a very important. Is anyone has any doubt about the Eucalyptus architecture? Please tell me. It's very, very important. Karo kono doubt ache? কোন জায়গা বুঝতে পারোনি ইউক্যালিপটাস আর্কিটেকচারে?
স্যার ইউক্যালিপটাসের যে আর্কিটেকচারের যে ওটা তো আপনার ওয়েবসাইটে আছে না, মানে রেফারেন্সটা আছে?
রেফারেন্স বলতে ওয়েবসাইটে তুমি যেটা দেখবে সেটা হচ্ছে অনলি ফ্রন্ট এন্ড, মানে জিইউআইটা তুমি দেখতে পাবে।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, হ্যাঁ ওটাই।
আর্কিটেকচার দেখতে পাবে না কিন্তু।
আর্কিটেকচার প্রেজেন্টেশনটা যেটা আপনি করছেন ওটা স্যার একটু পেলে ভালো হয়, মানে খুব হেল্পফুল।
দাওয়া আছে, ওটা দাওয়া আছে।
ওটাই জিজ্ঞেস করছি স্যার, ওটা আছে।
ও আচ্ছা, তুমি ইউক্যালিপটাস ওয়েবসাইটের কথা বলছো না, আমাদের ওয়েবসাইটের কথা বলছো, মানে গুগল সাইট?
না হ্যাঁ আপনার, হ্যাঁ আপনার,
হ্যাঁ গুগল সাইটে দেওয়া আছে, গুগল সাইটে সবই তোলা আছে। ঠিক আছে,
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
তো এনিওয়ান এনি আদার প্রবলেম? তুমি বুঝতে পারছো না সেটা কোন জায়গাটা বুঝতে পারছো না বলতে পারো আমাকে, কোনো অসুবিধা নেই। If you have any problem.
না স্যার
Sir, what is EBS in storage controller?
হ্যাঁ,
What is EBS?
EBS টা আমি তোমাকে এই মুহূর্তে আমি একটু স্কিপ করে গেলাম, কারণ EBS টা আমি তোমাদের পড়াবো যখন আমি Amazon AWS টা পড়াবো। EBS is actually elastic beanstalk. EBS full form is elastic beanstalk. এই যে দেখো লেখা আছে elastic beanstalk. এটা mainly is a part of the AWS architecture, but যেহেতু Eucalyptus is compatible with the architecture of Amazon AWS, তাই জন্য EBS টা মাঝে মাঝে ওর সঙ্গে কাজ করে। তো EBS টা আমি এই মুহূর্তে স্কিপ করে যাচ্ছি, এটা জাস্ট EBS টার্মটুকু মনে রাখো। When I will teach you in the Amazon AWS, I will discuss about the EBS. EBS এর সঙ্গে S3 মানে স্টোরেজ সার্ভিসে কি ডিফারেন্স আছে, মানে এটা তুমি ধরে রাখতে পারো EBS is actually a block storage. Okay, it's a type of block storage. Okay, persistent block storage. এটাও স্টোরেজ পারপাসে ইউজ করা EBS টা, ইলাস্টিক বেঞ্চ স্টক। ওকে, ফুল ফর্ম ইজ ইলাস্টিক বেঞ্চ স্টক। আমি ডিটেইলসটা Amazon AWS এর সময় বলবো, ঠিক আছে?
ওকে স্যার, ঠিক আছে।
শুধু জাস্ট মনে রাখো যে EBS is nothing but is actually one sort of storage, is actually a block storage, a persistent block storage, but it is quite different compared to S3, যেটা যে সিম্পল স্টোরেজ সার্ভিস, যেটা মেইন স্টোরেজ তোমাদের S3, তার থেকে কোয়াইট ডিফারেন্ট। কি ডিফারেন্স সেটা আমি Amazon AWS পড়ার সময় বলবো, ঠিক আছে? Okay, anyone, any other doubt? So I can move on. Okay, so let me move on. So these are the differences that I have given regarding among Eucalyptus, Open Nebula, Nimbus. Okay, so just you can go through the differences. Okay, differences খুব বেশি আসে না, but for your overall knowledge you can go through the differences. Okay, internal security is strict, in Open Nebula internal security is not strict, is loose, and in Nimbus internal security is yeah. So design emulated EC2 means elastic cloud computing. And customizable means according to user the design can be customized, or developer, not user, sorry, developer design can be customized, and based on the Globus. So a Globus sort of a management team will be there which can be used. Okay, now this cloud type, Eucalyptus is majorly private cloud type, which I already discussed. Open Nebula is also a private cloud, only private, whereas Nimbus can be used for both private as well as public. Okay, user population, Eucalyptus say user population অনেক বেশি, large amount of users are using it. Open Nebula small, quite a beshi nahi. In Nimbus is also a large amount of users are using. Okay, so these are the things that you need to know regarding the differences. Now this thing I need to discuss with you. So this is one of my research work which I already did it and already published the research work in one of my paper, where I actually tried to focus. This is a Eucalyptus architecture, overall Eucalyptus architecture, where I actually try to focus that if a malicious code is trying to access or attack or make an impact on the architecture of Eucalyptus, how we can handle it, how my system we can handle it, and how it will be fitted into the Eucalyptus architecture that I have been shown here, trying to show here. So this AMDS is my system. Okay, advanced malicious detection system, like that. Okay, I don't remember the entire name. Advanced malicious detection system. So this is actually a detection system I have been introduced or proposed in my research work, whose main job is to detect whether your cloud architecture is infected by a malicious code or not. Okay, not prevention system, it's a detection system. Only detection will be allowed. Prevention is there are some other prevention techniques which will be discussed, but in my research work I am mainly focused on the detection system. So I am not going to talk about the detection system, what are the algorithms I am using for detecting a malicious code. That is quite complex to know the algorithms. You can go through my paper. This paper is available in my Google Scholar. If you are interested, you can go through my Google Scholar.